Kris Krohn here on Limitless Wealth TV, and today I want to share with you how old I think you need to be to invest in real estate. What is the ideal age? Here it comes. You know, age is such a funny thing when it comes to being an adult in the real world, because on the one hand, we're talking about real estate. I mean, this is the largest commodity that the average American is ever going to purchase, right? I mean, like if a car costs $20,000 or $50,000, we're talking about a house that costs, $100,000, $200,000, $300,000. And most people in their lifetime are not going to buy anything bigger or more expensive than a house. And so there's a lot of young people that will doubt themselves. I know that I doubted myself when I was wondering, real estate, isn't that really a game for adults, or shouldn't you be like really old to be able to do that? You know, I was 22 when I caught the real estate bug. And I know that some of you watching this are 16, 17, 18, 19 years old. And do not fret, I'm going to share with you, I think, the perfect age for getting involved in real estate a little bit later. But when I was 22, it was because I was in college. I was trying to find out what I wanted to do with my life. I had wanted to be a doctor, but quickly found out that I didn't have a natural aptitude for chemistry. And my advisor was just saying, Kris, man, you are going to hate the next 10 years. If chemistry doesn't come easy to you right now, just imagine doing 10 years of it. If you're unhappy with it now, you're going to be crazy, grumpy, unhappy later down the road. So just ditch it. And so I was looking for a career or doing something with my life that could really financially get me where I wanted to go. And I remember sitting in this community class with my wife on improving marriage. We were just newlyweds, right? And so being really young and taking this course, one of the things that was interesting was the fifth class was taught on money and budgeting, but it was taught by a man who I came to find out had made lots of money in real estate, didn't have any kind of conventional job. And I was just like, what do you mean you don't have a job and you work for yourself and you do this thing called real estate? And he says, well, actually, I haven't bought homes in years because I did all the real estate I needed to. I made all the money I needed to and basically took care of everything. And that really intrigued me about this individual named Ben. And I caught the real estate bug. I wanted to learn everything I could. And at first it was really overwhelming. I was like, there was all these foreign words like equity and words like, home values and CMAs, comparable market analysis. And I didn't even understand what a landlord was, right? So it was foreign, but I had this hunger and this appetite to want to learn. And at the end of the day, what ultimately made real estate happen for me was having a guide, having a mentor, and having the right kind of knowledge. And once I got that knowledge that showed me step by step what I needed to do, even though I was scared and I was worried, I did everything that I needed to. And I remember when I was 23 and I bought my first house, it felt like such an adult. I was adulting. And it felt like such a cool thing to be able to do in my life, to be able to have bought this home that had a basement apartment that basically paid the majority of the mortgage. I was really just living for free. And instead of a studio, this Untitled one-bedroom apartment my wife and I were renting before, we now have this 3-bedroom house upstairs all to ourselves after renting the basement. And I just thought that it was the neatest thing. And I love how it felt like it just fell into my lap. But the reality is it felt really inspired. You might even feel inspired, or that this video is resonating with you. How I found the house was crazy. I was driving home from work, and I felt moved in my heart to drive home a different way, which is not like me because I'm a pretty focused individual. So I was just driving home through this neighborhood to get back to where I lived. And it was a weird day in May, where in Utah, in May, things are normally already kind of heating up, but it was blue skies out. The sun was out, and it was snowing sideways. Like the wind was just pushing and it was just like, it was so bizarre to have the sun out and blue skies. I couldn't see a cloud, and it was snowing sideways. But right when that happened, it was like it was a sign, because on the other side of the road was a for sale by owner sign. And I immediately just felt like, oh my gosh, this is it. It's happening right now. And I turned my car around, and I remember looking at the sign and the house, and it was this cute little adorable thing. And something just pounded my heart inside and just said, this is what you're going to do. This is your first investment. And I got out of my car, and I remember pulling up the hatchback, looking for a pen and paper, something to try to look more official, because I was just this really young, dumb-looking kid in college. So I grabbed some pen and paper, tried to look as adult as I could. I marched up to the front steps. I knocked on the door, and this grumpy older woman came to the door. She said, what do you want? I said, for sale sign? I was so nervous. And I said, what's the price? He says, 110,000. I was like, oh, okay. And then I just did the dumbest thing because I had no idea what I was doing. Would you take 100,000 for it? And she looked at me and she's like, no, it's 110. I'm like, okay, can I see the house? And she let me in. A very unpleasant woman. And we walked through the house. And basically, I did some research on this house with the help of a realtor and found out that this house was worth $150,000, but that I could buy it for 110. And so even though she wasn't willing to budge on her price was already a golden price. Now, it wasn't a golden house. This thing was very lived in and broken in, and it needed some cosmetic love. One of these days I'll tell you what happened in the fridge after they unplugged it for 30 days and left me a surprise for me and my wife. It was horrible. Anyway, ended up buying this house, and that's what got me started in real estate. So I started off relatively young, and yet to answer your question, I've helped people far younger than me do it. We've got older teenagers that are buying real estate because I can show you how to do real estate where you don't need a realtor's license. Don't get one of those things. You don't have to have established credit, and in many cases, you need little or no money at all. A parent could throw up some money, a partner, a friend could put up a little money. And some of these deals, there's just no money at all that it takes to get in. And so when we talk about how old do you need to be, well, listen, if you want to do conventional real estate, if you want to put up money and if you want to put up credit, then you need to establish your credit for 2 years. You need generally a 2-year working history. You're going to want 2 or 3 credit cards that the banks will see that you've used responsibly. You shouldn't be having lates or abusing those credit cards in any way, which means that for some of you watching this video, it's like, so Kris, you're telling me I got to wait 2 years? No, that is not what I would tell myself if I was time machining back in time. I would go out and I would use my lease option system, which, by the way, I show people how to do that. I've also got my partnering system, my partner profit system that I show people. Just click the link up here and I'll show you what the fast track to getting into real estate right now looks like for doing it as inexpensive as possible. But frankly, there's some contracts and some understanding and training that you do need. So I package it all together to really show you how to do it. So that's my final verdict. How old do you have to be to invest in real estate? Listen, you can be in your 20s. You can also be in your late teens. But most importantly, when I started in real estate, I think I want to throw this out. Other than being newly married, I got married young. Other than my wife, who was very supportive, I didn't have friends or family supporting me. They all thought I was crazy. They all couldn't understand why I was doing what I was doing. Most people, I did not surround myself with entrepreneurs, so they all thought that I was crazy. Entrepreneurs won't think you're crazy, and people that are mentors to you in real estate or that can answer questions and help you out won't think you're crazy. But you might need to get a little bit of a different support network because for most of us, there's too few of us that there's not really naturally people on our left and right that are willing to say, oh, that sounds wonderful. You know, you're going to get advice from other people like, if it doesn't work out, it's going to crush you, it's going to hurt you. Yeah, I'm going to talk about how you protect yourself and do it the right way. But yeah, you're not going to get the most support out there. I didn't have support. I went out there. I made it happen. I'm so glad I did. My life would be, so different if I hadn't actually gone down this road of doing real estate. So how old do you have to be? I hope that answers it. Thank you, my friends. Hey, thanks for hanging back and watching the video and being here with me this morning. Listen up, I'm just enjoying Mexico and I'm thinking, you know what? Real estate's made it possible for me to shoot this video for you somewhere else in the world other than my house and backyard where I normally do these. I get a chance to travel and do a lot of wonderful things around the world. I get to engage in service projects and I get to travel with a lot of amazing people and I get to travel with my family. And just a moment of gratitude to God and to real estate because this was an inspired path for me and this path has created a world of abundance for me. And it all came down to having the right training and the right help. If you're looking for the right training, if you're looking for the right help, it's available and it's available here. Me and my team, we are set up to help you rock it out. All you got to do is click the link, head over to the website, read up on exactly our systems and what we do, submit your information and someone on my team will get back out to you, probably shoot you a text and start getting you the critical key information that you need to see what it would look like for you to really launch yourself in real estate right now.